Hey, welcome to Ask Dr. Jodi with me, Jodi Amen.
And Lily.
And Lily. Yeah, today we're going to talk about feeling new or reclaiming a newness if you don't like what's going on in your life, inside your body, outside your body, in your mind, in your relationships. If there's anything that you want to change, I think what's most important that I know is that things are changeable. Like nothing ever stays the same. And so anytime I look at a new year, I think about, okay, what do I want to let go of? What do I want to bring more in? And how do I practice that? Keep letting that stuff go. Because it's not like you don't let stuff go and it's just gone. You have to let it go, and then you have to practice and practice and practice letting it go. And yeah. And I actually, I'm sorry, I don't mean to be talking so much, but actually, I think about New Year a couple times a year. I think about the new year in the beginning of September because for so long as a student and then as a parent, I thought about that academic calendar as, that was really the calendar. That was the beginning of the end of the summer, and you kind of thought of new ways to be, and you kind of have resolutions at the beginning of September, right? And then the new year, obviously the new year, and you're thinking because it's the calendar year and it's just an opportunity to do that again. And then always in the spring, I do that again.
Why?
I think it's a change of season.
You had such a good reason for the other two.
Well, maybe it's because it's my birthday. So my birthday is like the end. So I'm an Aries. So my birthday is the end of March. And Aries, like in olden times, that was the beginning of the year, right? Because Aries is 1 on the chart. Like, so on the astrology chart, Aries is 1. And then Taurus is 2, so because that used to be the beginning of the year, like winter was the end of the year. You know how you think of like summer as baby, and then spring is baby, and then summer is like adolescence, and then fall is like adulthood, and then winter is like old age. Do you ever think of it like that?
I guess.
Kind of the seasons of life.
That's just like the trees, right?
Yeah. In the northern hemisphere, the trees are baby buds, and then in the summer they're like vibrant and involved in life, like hot, summer. And then in the fall, it's like you get to see the beautiful colors if you're in the north anyway. And then in the winter, like you're resting, right? So this is wintering time, resting. Actually, it's the next book up on my list is this book called Wintering. It's supposed to be really good at thinking about slowing down in the winter.
Read.
But if you think about the wheel of the year, really, the wintering is when you're reflecting on it all. So the beginning of the year in many, in many cultures around the world is actually the spring, because that's like the beginning.
But then you said there's a fourth time, or just
obviously the summer solstice. Like if you think about connecting to the earth a little bit, the summer solstice is also the beginning of the summer. And it's when we make like what do we want for the summer? What do we, because it's like a change in our schedule again. The schedule often changes. My schedule at work often changes in these seasons because my clients' schedules change. And so things shift, or my kids' schedules change. And so I change the days I'm available or the nights or whatever. And so there's always like 4 times a year, really, there's this change. Anyway, so this is not the only opportunity, but that really leads to what I want to talk about most tonight is that we have the opportunity to say, I don't like the way this is going, and let me reset it. And I'm not being oblivious to the context of some people's lives that is so difficult and it makes it really hard. There's injustice that makes it harder for some people, and that's not fair. And we have to do the work that we could do to undo that injustice as much as we can. We have to be aware of it. We have to undo it. But also there's this aspect of we affect that, so we have to do something about it, but we affect ourselves and how we think about things and how we respond to stuff, and how does that affect our relationships? That response that we have changes things pretty immediately in our life. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but okay. Like, let's talk about New Year's resolutions.
Okay. Revolutions. That's what we need. It's a New Year's revolution this year.
A revolution.
Yes, resolution.
No, resolution. Wait.
New Year.
You said
we need a revolution. No, New Year's resolution.
Okay, no, resolution. Whatever.
Yeah,
that went on
too long. Let's talk about it.
It's not a good bit. Anyways.
We're bantering.
Yeah. I didn't make one, did you?
Yes.
You did.
Well, first of all, we made one on the last show.
Oh yeah.
You were reaching out to 3 people a week, and I'm reaching out to 3 people a day. And today, this is the first day. We were on a family vacation from the 1st to yesterday. So today was kind of my day 1 of the year. And so I reached out to 3 people. You have a whole week to reach out to 3 people.
I reached out to 1 person.
Woo.
So what would I say? 3 people a week or 1
3
person
people a week?
Okay, whatever. Last episode, I guess I made a resolution, but I didn't I don't know. I feel like that is a good goal. I mean, there's tons of things I want to get done, but in terms of a New Year's resolution,
you didn't. Make one.
I don't I haven't done it for a while, ever.
On purpose. Where
I'm New Year's Eve, I'm I'm gonna do this all year because I don't know. I feel like it's more disappointment. It's hard.
So you're afraid to set goals because you're afraid you're going to be mad at yourself when you don't do them.
Yeah. Because I could do there's things I want to do.
That sounds like an overthinker.
Yeah, but we already know that.
I mean, right? So if you're an overthinker, then you don't set goals because then you're going to be really upset when you don't make them. Yeah, and then you're sabotaging yourself anyway, right? You're sabotaging your, motivation or your willingness to do work. You're resisting your own success when you do that.
I know. I mean, we've had a lot of conversations about it. There's work that I want to get done, but it just feels because it could all the work could just end up with nothing. You could reach out to people, try to make connections, but it doesn't amount to anything.
Okay.
And so
how do you judge success? I think that's the next question. How do you judge success? If you're doing all this efforting and you don't get the results maybe you were looking for, but if you don't do the efforting at all, there's 0 results. If you have, you half bake the efforting, you're not going to get results that you could potentially get either.
Mm-hmm. I know. I mean,
it's you're trying to protect yourself. Our ego tries to protect us. And, in the guise of trying to protect us, it makes us suffer because we lose opportunities. We sabotage ourselves. And I think this is epidemic, especially among people your age.
Yeah, I think that. But that's the thing is, even when I'm told that, I know that, but then it doesn't make tomorrow getting work done any easier.
What would make a difference? Because that would change so many people's lives if they knew how. If you could bottle not being so attached to worried about failure or not having success so that you don't try to do anything. If you could just drink something and be okay, I'm going to try really hard. If I don't make it, I'll make something because I'll be better off than I would have otherwise. And something will come out of it. I mean, you can't do tons of efforting and have 0. Something comes out of it. It might not be what you expected.
Yeah, but that, I guess, is that true? Can you?
Yes.
I have a rather pessimistic view.
I'm so optimistic because no, I think it's really true because if you do lots and lots of efforting, so say you're applying for internships, if you do tons and tons of efforting, tons and tons of efforting to apply for internships, the chances of getting an internship is going to increase.
Yeah.
And if you just keep going, and keep going, eventually you'll get an internship because there's internships out there. And so there's tons of places that want interns. They want you. People want you, right? So if you think about it that way, somebody wants me, they're looking for an intern. And so I just have to be at the right place at the right time. So that means I have to just show up as much as I possibly can. And then in those efforting to show up or send your resume out, you may make other connections. You may learn something else. You may get that internship. You may get the best internship ever, but you may learn something else about yourself. You may, I don't know. There's so many opportunities in there that you don't even realize.
But like, okay,
you build confidence in yourself.
I've heard that from you a lot. Like, you're my mom, so I've heard that a lot.
Sorry.
Okay. Enough with that. But like, when you say that to me, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do work. Like, today I was really productive and I got a lot of work done. And then anytime I hear something like inspirational, I get really productive. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I can do this. Like, I understand it. And then it could be like a few days later and I'll crash down and be like, yeah, I know. It just doesn't feel worth it. But not like nothing feels worth it. It's just like the amount of work that I want to be putting in, or like setting aside on my computer, editing.
Do you think that's because we talked about this recently too? So, and I don't know if you wanted to talk about this on the show, but we're talking about with your generation dopamine issues. Like, so some days you're like, oh, not worth it. Like, motivation's really low. Could that be like a dopamine issue? And there's nothing to be ashamed of. Obviously, it's like, well, it's like our phones are causing this huge problem.
That's what, I was
with everybody.
I was just gonna say
not
that.
you. I mean,
yeah, I know, but I was just gonna say that it does feel like sometimes. This doesn't even have anything to do with New Year's, but it's like sometimes you're scrolling like on TikTok, and like I know other people feel this too, but you're like, I don't even want to be on here, but I don't know what else to do. I end up spending like on a bad day like several hours on TikTok. Not a bad day, but like on a more procrastinating day, like several hours when I could be watching like a movie, which is something I would really want to be doing. Yeah. But I'm not like enjoying myself on TikTok. But like I also think I would like to like make a decision to like take a break instead of be like,
I see you do that with TikTok. You're like, I'm not gonna do it till evening.
Yeah, I did that all summer. I was really good about that.
It worked.
But then I just stopped one day, and it was like,
but that means you could do it again.
Yeah, I could do it again. But
so you could be like, no TikTok before 8 p.m. or something. Maybe it still gets you in trouble after.
Maybe it's time to just delete it. But
maybe you won't have to.
Maybe that's my New Year's resolution. But okay, back to this is like how like sometimes things being too strict will just like make it
will trigger overthinking.
Yeah, like if I'm like, oh, I can't ever go on TikTok, then it's like when someone sends me something I really want to see, I'm like, no TikTok, or else if I click on that TikTok, I'm just gonna scroll. So like that's my issue with New Year's resolutions is that if I'm like nothing of this, like it can either be all or nothing. It's hard for me to like take a break from things or like limit.
Because once you limit and then once you do a little bit, it's like
oh, I don't care.
I mean I do that with food. If I'm like, no sugar,
do that.
And then and then I'm like, oh, I'll just have a little tiny bit of chocolate. And I'm like, forget it. I just eat chocolate.
Well, yeah, but that's like the healthiest way to do it is if you have like a little, like I feel like, I don't know, everyone's different, but I feel like it's not as healthy to be like no sugar. It's like better to have like a mix, that's how I feel about everything.
Yeah, I know. But you know what, like my flexibility is my superpower. And also I think it causes me problems sometimes because I'm flexible when I want a little bit more discipline. So my flexibility gets me in the flow and I get a lot more done than a lot of people. But also my flexibility makes me take on totally tons of different things. And then I'm cluttered.
Well, that's like, I'm most productive when I'm like at school, I'm very strict. Like my room is clean, everything is clean. And then I like crave a break for winter break. And then I get home and I'm like, oh, I don't really know what to do with myself. And I don't have as much structure for myself. And so like that's what I get more done when I'm less flexible, but then I'm like less flexible. You know?
Yeah.
So that's why I don't make New Year's resolutions. But that sounds like so horrible. But I like get the majority of stuff done, but there's just like another edge of things that I would like to be getting done that I don't.
Yeah. So your overthinking is like you have to do it or don't even bother. And so you try to set some goals for yourself. Like you've been running, you've been going to the gym, right? And that and you're a little bit flexible with yourself to keep yourself from totally overthinking, but you've been managed to do that. And then you get proud of yourself about it. You know what I mean? So this is what's so hard is like, we could be new. We could be our new self anytime. We could reset. Or, I often use that word too, when there's like a bad day, when one of my kids or one of my clients is having a bad day, it's like, we need a reset. It's like, you want to hit that reset button sometimes and think about, what do I need to do to reset? And I think the first thing you reset is your nervous system. So go watch our grounding techniques video, our episode on grounding techniques. Just look it up, Jodi and grounding techniques, and get a nervous system reset. I also have a longer training on nervous system reset, and you could just go to jodiamond.com/reset. You might get another video first, but you'll get the reset video. So I talk about how to reset that nervous system, because that's like number one in the reset. And then it's a little bit easier, because then you have to shift beliefs to think about, first of all, just like the intention of a reset resets you. The belief that you can have a reset is almost all you need, is to think about, okay, reset, and think about things differently, and kind of open yourself up to how else to see it, other perspectives, or do something else for a little while. Do something with your hands, like make something, like stop, kind of interrupt that train of whatever's going on, and do something. And those are ways to really reset yourself for, if it's not going well, or you're feeling like you're headed towards failure, or it's not going well, reset and do something else that is productive or feels like you're moving instead of stalled. And it resets the whole thing. Sometimes like if somebody's in a bad mood, I'm like, well, just like do a couple of errands around your room, just like straighten up a little bit, get one little, somebody is in a bad mood. Do some little errands around your room, go get something that you had on your list that you need to do. And it resets you, because you have like success or a little bit of productivity. It totally shifts mood.
I never
it
think
works
it's gonna
every
work.
time.
I think it's gonna work.
You don't. It works though. So you could really reset yourself even in the moment. Sometimes people are going through really awful stuff. So you just have to feel your feelings. That's another episode you want to check out, the Feeling Your Feelings episode. All of these, if I'm referring to them, I'm going to put them below. But because if you push and resist those feelings, they like chase you, And so if you allow yourself to feel, but with compassion, you don't attach, and then you could kind of distract yourself like so much easier. So, okay. So let's talk about some of the things that is important to you for this year. We have about 10 minutes left here.
Important to me?
Yeah. So forget about resolutions, New Year's resolutions. Okay. What do you want to bring into your life? And I could answer it too.
I just want joy. Like that's what I want. But because it could come from so many different things. I'm holding a pen. It could come from. Okay. It's not that funny. It's a pen. It could come from like getting stuff I want to get done. It could come from not forcing not making myself miserable with that. It comes from being around people I like. It comes from having enough relaxation and having enough things to do where I'm like busy and challenged. And so I feel like joy is like an overall good term, which I feel like
positive feedback from people you like. I mean,
Well, yeah. I also do well with criticism, like from certain people, like what's it called? Papa. No, what's it like? The criticism that's like good,
constructive.
Yeah, I love getting constructive criticism, but not from you. I mean, that's why you're making that face. It's helpful, but of course,
some opportunities the mother doesn't have to give.
No, you can obviously, but like
I do. Anyway.
I do enjoy. I think that's good too. But yeah.
Okay, so so you like to be challenged. You like to have constructive criticism that stretches you or grows you. You're like, oh my God, that's good, and you like try it that way, like with acting.
Yeah,
like that's what you're talking about.
Yes, that's what I mean.
Yeah, so someone like says, "Well, try it this way," and you try it, and you're like, "Oh, that was a good note." You love that. It like feeds you.
Yeah, sure.
And then you could get, especially because you're directable, so you get it, and it probably feels really good. Okay, so the importance of being around people who lift you up, doing different things in adventure, challenging yourself, doing things you want to do, like getting stuff done so you're on the other side of those things that stress you out.
Yeah.
Is that what I'm hearing?
I feel like just like peace.
Oh yes, relaxing, like getting relaxation time. You said. I was trying to repeat. You said. But
Oh
I'm totally
yeah,
out
yeah,
of
yeah.
order.
And like, yeah,
So
doing my
grounding
grounding in the mornings for the day, listening to music.
totally changes your day.
Yeah, because I started to listen to an audiobook in my normal like music time, and I started to feel like I love listening to my audiobook, but I was like, I'm missing kind of like that time where I listen the music like gets me in a good zone. And I start to like take on what the characters are going through, which is good, but I just need that time in like the beginning of the day. And I learned that. That's kind of cool.
How do you like resist listening to the story when you're like engaged in it to do your grounding instead?
Well, it's kind of, that's easier. It's not like as much discipline. It's like I'm saving it for later. Like I have more to do later. So it's like fun.
I like it. See, sometimes it's just about like tricking. Motivation is all about tricking your brain into like whatever you want, and your intention is it's better for you.
Also, replacing it with music, it's not like it's like also something I enjoy, so it's not that hard.
But it's different. So making priorities about what overall makes you feel good,
and trial and error. Like it's okay to not get it at the beginning. That's the other thing. It's like it doesn't have to happen. Well, that's what you said. There's a lot of chances. It doesn't have to happen at the beginning of the year.
Yes, I love that you brought up trial and error, because that's a biggie for me. Is like, does this work? And instead of being like, this is what people say is supposed to work, like the thought leaders on this is supposed to work, like use your intuition. Like, you know yourself better than anybody, and like use your intuition and be like, does this work for me? Does this feel right? Does it, like, sometimes people, I watch something like, do these 3 exercises and you change your way your back feels. I could like yes or no those kind of videos. Sometimes I want to just do reactions to those kind of videos and be like, do those exercises for a whole week and then respond to like if that worked or not. But sometimes you watch those things, you're like, yeah, no. And sometimes you watch them, you're like, yes, I need that. I need that exercise to stretch
and then sometimes you look at it and you're like, I could try it. I mean, that's what the trial and error is, right? You don't just like know from looking at it.
Exactly. Okay, so to round us up, I really want to talk about me. No, I want to talk about what I'm interested in this year. Is I think connection is going to be like a number one for me, like being with people in person. I made a commitment a long time ago to prioritize people over tasks. And I'm always behind in my tasks, but
I've so many.
Stuck to that. I've got so many tasks and I got so many people, but yeah, I think this year I'm going to even do that even more so than before, is like get together with people in person. And yeah, I'm excited about that. I think that's important for all of us. I think the importance of connection right now in the world and being together in person is more important than it has ever been, because we're very, very divided, and it's done purposefully, right? This division has been done purposefully because you divide and you can control people that way. And so we have to get together in person and remember how we like each other, right? We remember that people are good, and that will help really open our eyes to like what's really happening and what we have to do to go forward. I think that's going to be the most important thing. So I want to encourage all of you, like, get together in person, because there's a difference. We are social beings and we need that. We need that for our nervous system. I know this is hard because a lot of people are introverts and are like, my nervous system's frayed when I'm around too many people. But for most people, and that might be because they're not around people that much, when they get around, they're like in their heads. And if they're around people more, I think it's more of a production of our isolation that happens to people.
That you're an introvert?
No, that you get stressed out around people. Right? We've been isolated so long, so we get around people, like there's a bit of resistance and a bit of anxiety that comes up. It's because of the isolation. It's not because of the people, right? It's not because of being around people, because that's a natural state for us, is being around people. But we've we've kind of pulled away so much for many, many, many different reasons. So we have to get together in people, and that's going to actually ease our nervous system. So if you're that kind of a person who's like, I'm a sensitive person, I'm, hypersensitive, and I can't be around people that much. I need a lot of me time. I need a lot of like downtime. Have a little bit of a balance, but push yourself a little bit more to be around people, because I think that will regulate you. Like, it's like getting over that hump, you know what I mean? And that'll regulate you. I also, I also want to just mention being trauma informed, because we haven't really been open and honest about if you've experienced trauma. These resets are for you too. These grounding techniques are for you. Feeling your feelings are for you. In my book, Anxiety, I'm So Done With You, I talk about, is that a mirror?
It is to us.
Okay. So get my book, because I talk about how to reset the amygdala. So trauma is not a life sentence. And when you're thinking about new year and new you, if you've had experiences in the past and your amygdala brings those back, they're like experiences, flashbacks, you could reset the amygdala. And we're not going to talk about it tonight, but maybe if you're interested, I'll do a topic on the show, and I'll just be talking about reset. I'm going to actually do that. Resetting the amygdala. Also, I want you to know that we have a call-in feature on the show. So sometimes Lily's not with me, and I'll take call-ins, and people could talk about things that are going on in their own life. And I do live coaching right on here. Thank you, Joe, our producer, is putting up this. So this is not the call-in number. This is a text. If you want to get on the text list for the show, where we text you the topics, we text you what we're going to talk about. If we need callers, if we have a topic, we're looking for some callers, get on this text list. 833-458. Oh, she put it down again, but you saw it on there. Oh, sorry, Joe. 833-458-3845. There it is. Just text Jodi to that number, and you'll be on my text list, and I'll text out to everybody. And if you text me back, only I get it. It doesn't go to the whole list. So that's cool. You get access to me if you get on that text list. And from that text list, you could be like, I want to call in. I want live coaching on the show. But you could come over to my website, jodiamon.com/live, and you could sign up. There's a sign up form if you want to sign up to be a call-in guest. I would love to have you. If you're like, I don't want anyone to know my problems, you could be anonymous, and you could give me a different name. And so nobody knows who you are, where you're from, and you could tell us anything, and we could help you out. So glad to have you. I'm on live every Monday at 8 p.m. I'm Dr. Jodi.
I'm Lily.
Yay. Yeah. So you also could get on the calendar. Sorry, I'm keep going on and on here. But you could also get on our calendar, and you'll see the topics coming up, or sign up for email updates also. So you get a text or an email, whatever you use the most, and we'll send you out the topic for the show. I forgot to do that today. I forgot to send an email. Coming back from vacation, man, it's not an easy thing. Reset. Today was a big, huge reset. I cleaned everything, made my whole to-do list, and started cracking on it. So, Happy New Year, everyone. You could do this. You could be you. You could be the best you. You are so much more amazing than you think you are. I want that you want to be to come out and come through. So stick with us. We'll help you out and show you how. So see you next Monday. Bye.